Dear friends, we have thus the last portion of the poem All the World's Stage to consider. For last 2 days we have been talking about so many relevant points of this poem. Now I think that it is the final glance that we should have on this very famous poem All the World's Stage by William Shakespeare. So I am Dr. Naveen Kumar Jha, Associate Professor in English, Ram Avatar Gautam Sanskrit College, Ahalya Asthan, Kameshwar Singh Darbhanga Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya Darbhanga. Now so far we have discussed so many aspects, but this time we have the text before us of the poem. We find that this is going to be very important to read. That is like this. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and barking in the nurse's arms, then the weaning schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail, unwilling to school, and then the lover sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow, then a soldier full of strange oaths and beard like the bard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice, a fair round belly with good captain lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wide swords and modern instances, and so he plays his parts. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slipper pantaloons with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful those well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again to our childish treble pipes, and whistles in his sounds last scene of all that ends the strange eventful history, its second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. So after reading the poem, we have collected few important words which we should deal with, because we think that when we are going to describe the lexical aspect of the poem, knowing these words becomes very important. So here we have the words like merely, it is an adverb, and so it means only. Now here the word is exit, that has been used into noun form into the poem, meaning going out, depart. The word like entrance has also been used in noun form, that simply means entry or access, being, coming. These are all possible lexical meanings of the words which may be suitably used here to explain the lexical meaning of the poem. We have the word like infant. It is once again into noun form, meaning newly born child, baby, babe. Then we have mewling. It is just crying, used as the present participle form into the adjective. So just it is feebly by baby. So that mewling is just verb but used as in the present participle, and pucking has the same present participle form into the sentence. It is vomiting, or we can say that it is just into gerund form also, that has been used. And weaning means quarrelsome, frightful. Then we have the word like satchel. This is especially a noun, meaning school bag. Then creeping, just it is present participle form, meaning going slowly, moving slowly. Snail, it is a noun, rather it is a common noun, So a type of animal with a soft body and no legs and covered by a shell. Especially we can find this creature is found into water, and during rainy season it is found in plenty. And here is unwillingly. It is adverbial form of the verb, that is not willingly, reluctantly, against wish. So I try to just to give you the similar word into almost the same parts of speech that can be suitably analyzed in context with the poem. Here is lover, that is common noun form. One who loves is known as lover. Here we can say by the word love, it has been made into common noun by er suffix. And sighing, it is just like gerund, to let out a long deep breath that shows tiredness and disappointment. Here is furnace, that is just a noun form, a large, very hot enclosed fire used for melting metal. Awful, full with O, that is full is the prefix added to O, and it has become an adjective of sorrow, of misery. Ballad, it is a type of song which is meant for singing. So it is a long song or poem telling the story of love also. And strange, just it is in adjective form, unusual, unexpected. Then we have the words like oaths. It is just an abstract noun that is simply explained in terms of a formal promise. Then part, it has been shortened form, and so the full form is leopard. Here is jealous, that is an adjective once again. Feeling, just upset or angry. Humor, honor rather, it is just abstract noun form, that is reputation. Cannon, a large gun on ship. Capon, a castrated domestic cock fattened for eating. And we can generally find in the stage where the word has been used, particularly man is fond of eating and getting fatter and fatter and so on. So is opinion, and instance, an example. And then slipper, luge, pantaloons, baggy trousers. This is noun form. Pouch is also a noun form, a small leather bag. Shank, person's leg from the knee to ankle is called shank. And here is treble, a high sighing voice of a young boy. And pipe is the second last word rather, that is a noun form, and it means a tube with a small bowl at one end used for smoking tobacco. Oblivion, that is adverb, forgetfulness. So when we have gone through the poem or the text with all the just lexical appropriate meanings, now we have an impression about the intention of the poet that lexically he tries to give hint to. So now we may come to the summary part of this poem now. We all already know that the poet is describing this world as a stage, and here the poet is a successful dramatist, so naturally he has used his dramatic technique to compose this poem, and he has taken the instance of drama to just deal with this world, life, and the people's action. So here we can say that the impression of the theater has been well cast. As in theater we find that actors are doing and playing their respective roles, but it does not mean that the audience does not have to act, or audience remains the passive spectator. No, on the part of audience also we can say some action is going on, or the audience also tries to understand what is going on the stage. Otherwise there will be no transmission of the meaning or message that the playwright tries to give through the action on the stage. So both are active. Here we can say as actors are active on the stage, audience is actually active in his mind to decipher whatever is shown there. So we can say the poem is described through reader response theory. We can understand that we are reader, but actually when you are reading the poem, we are also just making our activity move on and go to the extent where the poet has thought the idea and poet has written something. So we cannot say that when we are reading the text, being the reader, that we should be the passive reader, we should be the silent reader, or there should not be any kind of mental action on our part. And naturally, that is not the thing. So the poet has made us act just while reading. We are acting in mind, we are feeling and going and playing the same role that poet is describing in the poem. So we are also participating while reading this, what you can call poem, as the audience is participating, sitting there before the theater in his mind, and it is why the same feeling is transferred from the actor to audience. So we have been made here, audience, to experience the same emotion as is in the mind of the poet. So we are not simply watching, we are not simply reading, but we are simply acting, we are simply doing the same kind of thing, or the same emotions are felt here of all the 7 ages that poet is describing here. So here we already know that we are all just actors. We are whether on the stage or outside the stage, but all are actors in their respective role. So it is just in relation with the audience that the meaning of drama is understood. So it is in relation with the reader that meaning of this poem is to be understood. So this world is no doubt a stage. We already know that we are already into the theater, playing our roles, and sometime we are there on the theater to play, sometime we are in the among the audience, but we are always in contextual relationship. So we see that all the actors have their exits, their entrances, and there are respective places when they are talking, they are making their dialogues, and then drama becomes meaningful. Likewise, in the stage of life, we are born, we die, and simply in between death and just birth, we are just doing our respective roles, and then the rest of the people are just simply watching our roles, and they are just trying to see the same kind of things there. So when we are just entering into this world, we are actually ready to do what the role is there. So sometime we can say when you are born, we are just doing the role of a son, role of just a school going child, role of a lover, and so on. We find that yes, everything it happens. So in society also these roles are just ascribed for us, and accordingly we are expected to do our social roles as well. In all sections of life, when you are in office, our role is well defined, and we are just behaving accordingly. So just in all walks of life, this role ascription is found, role just fixation is made for us. So here we find that the first role, that is for all, it is just general role of the life that poet is describing. He is not describing the role of the person in society and the role of person in office and somewhere else, yes, but it is the just the whole world that is just a theater where just we are born and we cry in the mother's arms for comfort, and then we are just vomiting in the nurse's arms. So these are all activities, these are all roles, and just we are doing that kind of thing. And the second is the role of the school going boy who is not willing to go to school. So when we are performing this role on the stage, we can generally have to just picture that kind of idea in our mind before we are performing the role. So it is just a responsibility of the student to act that way, as the poet is describing. Then it is just the third role of a lover that is absolutely just a stage of love. We are making love, and we are making love through our poems, and there are so many beautiful imaginations that we have for the beauty of our beloved and so on. So it is much more imaginative age where we live more in imagination than in the realistic life. We do not have, because it is why we can say sometime even the poor just boy is going to make love with the rich girl and vice versa. So because they are fantastically living and doing that role. But when we are coming to the fourth stage, you find that it is a little bit the role of responsibility, because here we start doing something just realistically for our lives. So from our imaginative just world of lover, we are coming to the realistic just a world of soldier, where just we are trying to seek reputation and so on. So just we do not hesitate to quarrel, just for our just reputation and so on. So we are ready to do everything, just for the nation, for the society, that we can get respect and we can get reputation. But when this age is gone, we find that we are little bit more just experienced. Here it is the role of experience that we start playing. So far it was the role of energy, it was the role of realism, it was the role of imagination that we have played. But here from the just we have gathered lots of experience of our life, and so it is just the responsibility and sense of responsibility that is born, and so the sense of justice prevails, and we are now able to just describe between good and bad and right and wrong. It is rather the age of justice, where we are more reasonable, just we are more argumentative, we are more experienced, and so we can say that it is the correctness of idea that we try to achieve. And then we are coming to the sixth stage. Here we find that there is the stage of just losing energy from our body. We find that so far the body, which was much more just strong, mind much more active, now just it is decaying, and we find that we are just going to be like much more slim, and here our just body is shrunk, and we have very loose shirts and pantaloons on our part, and we think that okay, just we are just going to almost in reluctance of life. There is no major role that we think that we are going to play here. But this is what the just physical stamina is there, which is just losing with the coming of the sixth stage. And finally, when you are coming to the seventh stage, we find that it is all the stage of just losing everything with which we are born and living. Now it is all about physical strength that is completely lost, and there is no sense organs which are functioning well, except the memory that we have lived an eventful life. We are left with nothing, just to go on. Now this was all the things. Now we are going to make an observation. We think that we have our own observation of life that we want to share, and we want to compare with the observation that the poet has made into the poem. So we can say that it is just nothingness of life, it seems, that the poet has expressed. But as I have been talking, that no, it is not meaninglessness of life that poet is talking. It is meaningful life. We can make life meaningful by doing our duty and duty and duty. It is the first thing. Even the poet is going to say the same thing, that instead of going towards nothing of life, nothingness of life, in most of the situation where we lose our interest in life and we start thinking that life is not meaningful, and so it is just the Oriental philosophy that we should take very seriously. Here also just said that life is nothing but illusion, but it doesn't mean that it makes us inactive in our life. You can say that if we are taking it like that, we are going above just gain and loss. Life is more than gain and loss, that we should simply think. Just if we want to make our life meaningful, suppose you want to make our life of teacher a meaningful one, we should not think it in terms of gain and loss, that you are just gaining in this life. Particularly you can say we are citing the example of Chanakya as the teacher. Here just he was killed, but
he dare not of all these kind of things, because it was all the teacher's life that he made immortalized by his actions, because he was thinking not in terms of anything physical or momentary gain and loss. So when just we are talking about illusion of life, we simply means that no, beyond illusion there is just actual life that we should start do and do and do without being just inclined to what we are gaining and what we are losing. It is momentary for the time being. If the life is to be meaningful, then we can say that we have just to make our life just splendid by doing some splendid work for society, as Gandhi did, very splendid work for society, that whatever his role of just a national leader was, he did superbly, and it was not the matter of loss and gain that he has ever thought of. And if you are going to think our life in terms of loss and gain, then we cannot make our life memorable. So it is what we are just trying to observe, and we should also understand that it is a contextualized life. We are not the only person doing our work. Rather, just our life will be meaningful only when we are doing something in relation with the life that other people are also doing. So just if we are doing just solely our own work without being concerned with the other people here around us doing their works, we cannot simply just create an effect in life. So the point is that it is a very much just a kind of relationship that is here, as there is a kind of relationship of action on the stage only when drama becomes successful, and one particular actor just doing the actions among other actors makes their action influential. Likewise, we can make our life influential doing the actions among other social beings in society. So Shakespeare is just going to talk about all these kind of things, and he has psychologically just described everything. He has psychologically tried to make our life boost up for better preparation for the challenge that life is waiting for us. And just when we are psychologically just bold and ready to challenge the challenge of life, we can make it a memorable one, a meaningful one. That is what the epitome and some substance of this poem is. I hope that we have described almost all aspects of this poem in consideration with the questions that we are going to face in our university examination, in our school examinations, in different kind of competitive examinations also. So this will be enough for us for the time being for just our examination. But I can think that it is not the end of explanation. We can say everybody has his own explanation. We should also try to explain or analyze this poem from your own experience and observation of life. Then we can I hope that you can understand this poem in a better way, and it will be more meaningful for you also. Everybody should try to analyze this poem from his own experience or observation of life point of view. Then this poem will be understood well, and will be very much just taking help of this poem for our just better preparation to face the challenge. Thank you. We just stop this time, and I hope that we can just see tomorrow with better preparation for good topic to discuss. For the time being, I leave you with this kind of observation. Thank you.